I never thought the first time I'd see my own face on television would be like that. Not on the news for some big score, not in the papers for a clean getaway. It was the night I broke into that house on Ashland Street. The night I realized somebody was already waiting for me, and they weren't holding a gun, they were holding the truth. But let me back up. I wasn't new to this game. I'd been breaking into houses since I was 15, running with crews that taught me how to move fast, how to breathe quiet, how to make a home whisper like it was empty even when it wasn't. You learn tricks, the weight of a window that hasn't been opened in years, the difference between a dog that barks because it's scared and one that barks because it wants blood. That night, everything felt textbook. Too textbook. Ashland was money. You could smell it in the fresh paint, the trimmed hedges, the kind of silence that comes from alarm systems and neighbors who mind their business. I picked that house because it looked lived in but not guarded, curtains half open, lights on timers, SUV in the driveway that hadn't moved in 2 days. Easy pickings. Or so I thought. The back window gave way with just enough force to make me sweat. I slipped inside, careful, like a shadow folding into itself. First thing I noticed, leather couch, spotless floors, a kitchen with a marble island big enough to sleep on. These people had money. Not just doing well money. I'm talking the kind of money that forgets about itself, the kind that leaves diamond earrings on nightstands and stacks of 20s in kitchen drawers because who's counting? I moved room to room, eyes sharp, ears sharper. Every creak felt like a siren, every second stretched out long enough to choke me. Still, the rush kept me steady. My bag was filling up fast. Jewelry, a watch, even a safe tucked inside the closet that I knew I could crack later. Then I heard it. Not footsteps. Not voices. A sound I hadn't expected at all. A television. Now, I've broken into houses with TVs left on before. People do it to scare guys like me off, make it seem like someone's home. But this was different. This wasn't some background chatter from a sitcom. This was a voice, steady, deliberate. And then I froze because I recognized the voice. It was mine. I stepped into the living room and felt my chest cave in. On that big flat screen, 20 inches from my face, there I was. Me. Same jacket. Same scar under my eye. It wasn't an old video, it wasn't some recording. It was live. The timestamp in the corner matched the clock on their mantel. Someone was streaming me. At first, I thought it was paranoia, some trick of my fried brain after too many nights running on adrenaline. But no, the screen showed me breaking in. The screen showed me moving through the rooms, bag over my shoulder, fingers brushing against things that weren't mine. I was watching myself commit the crime in real time. That's when my stomach dropped. Somebody knew I was here before I even stepped inside. Somebody wanted me to see this. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. My instincts screamed at me to bolt, but I couldn't tear my eyes away. The camera angle shifted, and I realized something that made my skin crawl. The cameras weren't in the house. They were in me. At least, that's what it felt like. Every step I'd taken since stepping onto Ashland Street, every twitch of my hand, every glance over my shoulder, it was all there, playing back like a movie I never agreed to star in. And then the voice came. "You look good on camera," it said, calm, smooth, like it was speaking through the walls. I dropped the bag. My heart went wild, fists clenched, eyes darting for exits I already knew were locked tight. Because in that moment, I wasn't the predator anymore. I was the prey. I didn't answer the voice. I don't answer ghosts, and that's what it sounded like, an echo wearing a smile. The TV showed me turning, showed my jaw tightening a half second before I felt it happen. A delay, barely there, like a heartbeat lag. That told me two things. 1, they weren't in the room with me. 2, they were close enough for live feed. "You always lead with the left," the voice said. "Even when you don't mean to." Reflex made me check my stance. My left foot was forward, weight wrong. I cursed under my breath and slid to neutral. Whoever this was, they knew me. Not cop no, either. Intimate. Crew no. I scanned the ceiling line. In houses like this, rich people hide their sins in the crown molding. I found it, a dark pinprick shadow that shouldn't have been there. Camera lens. Another above the art piece across from the TV, tucked in the frame. And a third, dead center above the stairs like a glass pupil. Cute, I said to no one. You wired the place. No, the voice said. You did. The room tilted. For a second I saw myself a year ago, different house, different city, selling a rich client a discreet home security install with gear that fell off the back of a truck in Oakland. Back then, I thought I was 2 steps ahead, cash my way, spare keys in my pocket, access to cameras later if I wanted to peek. A good hustle. We all eat. Except I had never been here before. This house wasn't one of mine. Who are you? I asked. Static breathed through the speakers. Then a low chuckle I'd heard in back rooms and parking lots, usually right before someone did something stupid. You owe me a watch, the voice said. And a slice of my cheek. Luca. Every thief in 3 counties knew Luca, 2 lines, covered in ink like a notebook and proud of the 2 scars he carried from a job gone sideways. One of them was mine. He and I had history that started with respect and ended with an ashtray. My mouth went dry. You're a rumor, I said, more to myself than him. Rumors don't pull permits, he said. Check the thermostat. I didn't want to, but my eyes went anyway. Someone had stuck a thin black ring between the wall and the smart thermostat, no wider than a thumbnail. A relay. Same trick I used. Same brand, actually. My brand. Luca kept talking like we were old friends swapping memories. You always thought you were special because you were careful. Gloves, cotton over rubber so you don't leave a chemical sheen. Neutral soap on the way in, citrus on the way out. Loved that one, by the way. Citrus reads as cleaning lady, not thief, in air samples. You taught me that. So I built you a stage. I forced my breathing even. The TV showed me glancing toward the hallway to my right. On the screen, a shadow crossed the wall a half-second after the one in real life. That delay again. If I moved fast, I could be where the TV said I wasn't yet. Game's over, I said, and lunged for the hallway. My shoulder hit the wall hard, deliberately. If there was a panel, I'd feel the flex. There. Hollow spot. I smashed it with the heel of my hand. Sheetrock gave way like wet cake, and my fingers found the bundle, thin cokes, 2 Cat 6, and a braided lead that hummed faint against my skin. The house had a spinal cord. Always the blunt instrument, Luca sighed. Still, I admire the commitment. I yanked. Lights flickered, refrigerator coughed, the TV went to black, then blinked back on with my face, closer now because the camera above the stairs had switched to a zoom. My pulse banged in my ears. Cutting the cord didn't kill the feed. Backup. Battery. Mesh. He'd layered it like I would have, then one better. The front door lock clicked. I know the language of locks. That sound wasn't a key. It was a command, smart deadbolt receiving a signal. Someone was at the door, or no one was, and the house was being told to open its mouth and swallow me. I moved. Kitchen, mudroom, laundry, fast, quiet. The back door looked like mercy. I put my ear to the glass. The yard was a postcard, moonlight, a swing set, a fence that pretended to be privacy. No wind, no dogs, no neighbors awake. I slid the bolt, cracked the door, and cold air kissed my cheek from the wrong side. A sensor throw. Infrared curtain shimmering in the gap. Trip that and you don't get sirens, you get silence. The kind that means someone just got a push notification with my exact location. Almost, Luca said. I was rooting for you. Say it to my face, I snapped. There was a pause. I could hear him smile. Turn around. I did. On the TV, the view changed to a camera I hadn't clocked, buried in the mantel clock itself. The image tightened until it was my eyes and nothing else. A man gets small when you reduce him to pupils. You remember Bridge Street? Luca asked softly. Bridge Street, a job that turned into a funeral. We were supposed to take cash and a ledger from a bookie who laundered for mid-level suits. Easy entry, inside help, no civilians. Then the inside guy panicked, the bookie's kid came home early, and the ledger turned out to be faces, clients, cops, and me, captured by a nanny cam I never saw. I told Luca to pull back. He charged. The ashtray happened. The scar happened. Then everyone scattered like pigeons. That was the last time I saw him. A rumor since. You left me bleeding in a bathtub while you ran, he said. So I built a bathtub out of your bad habits. Something else clicked, a softer sound, deeper in the house. Basement. The air shifted, a low hum spooling up from beneath my feet. Not HVAC. A rack. He'd built a server rack in someone's basement to watch me drown. I crept to the basement door and cracked it with my elbow, making the hinges complain like old men. The smell hit me first, ozone and warm plastic, the scent of machines that never sleep. A thin blue light breathed from below like a heartbeat. Don't, Luca said. You won't like what you see. Story of my life, I muttered, and went down. The steps were varnished and too clean. Whoever owned this place took pride in the shine. Halfway down, I pressed my palm flat to the wall and slid, feeling for another hollow. Solid. No easy wires. I reached the bottom and saw the rack. Slim, neat, all the cables zip-tied like a military haircut. A UPS stack blinked cheerful green. Next to it, a workbench with tools laid out like a sermon. And pinned to the pegboard, under a magnet shaped like a clown's grin, was a blown-up still of me at a liquor store, security cam angle, my head turned, that scar under my eye-catching fluorescent light. Someone had printed it, circled my face, and written in neat block letters, "You're late." A phone buzzed on the bench. Not mine. A cheap burner, taped to a brick. Text on the screen, Police ETA 619. Under it, a live map pulsing blue, 2 more dots crawling toward the house like beetles. It wasn't just a taunt. It was a countdown. Why? I asked, not sure if I was asking Luca or the brick. Because you never learn unless it hurts, Luca said. Because I need a favor, and this is the only language you respect. You call the cops, then ask me a favor? I called them off the last one. This time, I'm letting them come close enough to make you honest. He had me boxed, a feed that would put me at the scene, a timer that would bring uniforms to the door, and a basement that told the story he wanted told, me, the villain, again. I could rip the rack apart, but the UPS would keep the cameras singing long enough to hang me. I could run, but the doors had eyes and the yard had lasers. Name the favor, I said, watching the dots crawl. You're going to take something back for me. Something they stole after Bridge Street. You'll get your redemption, and I'll get my ledger. He let that hang there. See? Full circle. Who's they? He laughed. You already know their names. You've been stealing from their friends for months. My mouth tasted like copper. There were only a few crews rich enough, cocky enough, to wire a house this pretty and make it a trap. Only a few who'd want to bait me specifically. The kind that hosted fundraisers by day and gun deals by night. The dots on the phone got closer. 5 minutes, maybe less. My throat worked against a dryness that felt permanent. Why me? Because you still hate yourself just enough to do something noble if it looks like punishment, he said. And because you owe me a watch. The TV upstairs changed again. The feed switched to the front lawn. 2 low headlights floated into frame and died, engine off, lights out. Professional. Doors whispered open. Shadows got out, hunched and heavy with belts. I measured the room. Ductwork low enough to crawl. A window well behind the rack that looked like a promise with nails in it. The phone vibrated, 4:31. What's the play? I asked, already moving to the window, fingers checking the latch by feel. Simple, Luca said. You leave now, the side yard, the neighbor's oak, the fence, 30 seconds of dirty. Don't touch the window sensor. Slide the frame and pull the magnet. 2 houses over, a black sedan, plate ending in 7FQ. Keys in the visor. Drive west. I'll call you with the address. And if I don't... The TV volume rose on its own until the house filled with footsteps I hadn't made yet. On the screen, the front door camera showed a badge flashing, then a glove reaching for the knob. If you don't, Luca said, almost tender, you get to watch your face on their TV again tomorrow. But this time, it'll be on every screen in the city. The latch gave. The frame didn't squeal, but it wanted to. I breathed out slow, felt the magnet catch in my fingertips, and guided it off the reed switch so the circuit never broke. A thief's kiss. Air moved. Cold. Honest. The kind that makes your bones remember you're mortal. 3 minutes, the phone whispered like a prayer. I looked back at the rack, at the printed still of my face, at the neat tools lined up for a man who loved systems more than he loved people. I should have smashed it all. I should have set the place on fire just to watch his neat lines melt. Instead, I slid into the window well, swallowed the night, and thought about the last person who saw my face on a screen and lived to tell me what it looked like. The bookie's kid from Bridge Street. And that's when it hit me that this wasn't just Luca and me. This was bigger. This house, this feed, this favor, someone else was pushing pieces, and my face on that TV was just the opening move. The night bit into my knuckles as I slid out of the window well and hugged the siding. The yard felt like a stage with the lights off, every step a line that could blow the scene. I cut along the house, toes landing on the mulch instead of the flagstones because stone remembers weight and mulch forgets. At the side gate I paused, listening. Radio hiss, low and private. A zipper. A cop's cough, the dry, bored kind. Close. The oak next door was exactly where Luca said it would be, fat trunk leaning like a drunk uncle. I hit the fence, went up and over in one breath, then became a shadow under branches bigger than my childhood. I counted 3, 5, 7. When you're hunted, numbers keep you human. 2 lawns later, a sedan squatted at the curb, black on black with a parking ticket ghost on the windshield. I slid in. Keys above the visor like he promised. The engine turned without asking questions. I didn't turn on the headlights until I was past the stop sign. Ghost ride, 1 block, 2. Behind me, the house shrank into the kind of memory that wakes you up 3 months later with your heart pounding. At the third intersection, I saw it, a pair of eyes in a rear-view mirror that weren't mine. A cruiser rolled slow across the cross street. Not looking for me, not yet. Still, my hands got light on the wheel, like I could make the car weigh less by wanting it. The burner in the cup holder chirped once. No number. Just a voice when I answered. Take Lincoln West, Luca said. Don't be cute. His calm was a dare. I took Lincoln. 10 blocks of brick churches, closed bodegas, streetlights that forgot themselves. The car smelled like new leather and somebody else's secrets. At a red light, I tapped the steering wheel and thought about the girl from Bridge Street. She was 20, maybe, with eyes that didn't belong to a bookie's kid, too clear, too steady. She'd walked in on the worst minutes of her life and didn't scream until it was safe. She saw Luca's face. She saw mine. And she did the thing that changed everything. She didn't tell the cops the truth. Why me? I asked finally. Because you were there when the ledger disappeared, Luca said. Because our friend with the cuffs and the nice hair never forgave me for escaping the tub you left me in. Because the people who built that pretty trap you just walked through don't fear guns, they fear documentation. Who's the friend with cuffs? He laughed like chewing ice. You'll recognize him when he smiles. He always smiles before he lies. I drove. The city opened into the part that only looks rich in daylight. Warehouse lofts that used to be warehouses, restaurants with chairs that hurt on purpose, security cameras wearing designer raincoats. The burner chimed again. An address hit the screen. No name. 30 minutes west, near the river. What's there? I said. The Favor, he said. A private club that pretends it's a non-profit. Marble steps, bad jazz, men who call their crimes philanthropy. Ashland Street house belonged to one of them. Belongs to their fixer. He wanted a trophy. He got a mirror. I turned onto the river road. Black water slid beside me, pretending it was innocent. In my head I could hear Maria humming from when I was a kid and she mopped the kitchen at night. Old song, no words, just a line of sound that meant keep moving, Mijo, tomorrow comes whether you're ready or not. I shook it off. Tell me the layout, I said. Front doors theater, not entry. The real mouth is a service alley on the south side. Roll-up gate marked deliveries. Cameras dumb, motion only, no IR. 2 guards, 1 ex-military, 1 ex-football. They talk more than they listen. Inside, you'll find a wine room your grandchildren will never see and a library nobody reads. The thing we need isn't on a shelf. It's behind a painting you'll hate, the one of the horse pretending it's a god. Everything's cameras now, I said. You're going to scrub me? You were already scrubbed, he said. That's what the house was for. Your face is on their network as of 15 minutes ago. Means any new footage of you tonight. Looks like a system glitch. One sin cancels another if you do it fast. He had thought about this. Which means he'd thought about me. Most men who hate you want you dead. The dangerous ones want you useful. I pulled off, killed the headlights, and rolled onto gravel that whispered bad omens. The building rose out of the dark like a memory of money. Columns, uplights, windows fat with warm life. A delivery gate yawned at the south wall, half open, a tongue lolling. I need tools, I said. In the trunk, Luca said. Don't steal them. He hung up. I popped the trunk and found a kneeboard bag like surfers carry, except no beach boy was ever this neat. Lockpicks, a carbon wedge, glass glue, a little vial of something that smelled like my old chemistry lab mixed with cheap gin, probably a fogger to blind cameras. A black box the size of a paperback with an antenna like a toy. I knew the model. It could lie to a keypad in 6 different languages. I breathed, checked my hands, pulled cotton undergloves from the bag and slid nitrile over them. Cotton to eat the sweat, nitrile to deny the prints. I tucked a Slim Jim against my spine and took a smaller blade for the front pocket. I left the gun where it sat under the bag. I don't like guns for work. They make honest mistakes into felonies. At the gate, I crouched. The motion eye wore a spiderweb like a party mask. Dumb, like Luca said. I palmed the jammer box and stroked the antenna to wake it. The keypad glowed. I made it think I was a maintenance tech with poor boundaries. The bolt thunked back. I slid inside. Cool air. The sound of a compressor somewhere far, moving bottles from today to tomorrow. The service corridor was too clean for a place where men pretend they don't sweat. White tile, bright fluorescence with no flicker. It felt like a hospital for rich guilt. Voices. 2 men, one laughed too loud. I stepped into a nook that held a mop bucket expensive enough to buy my first car and waited. They came past in tux shirts with their top buttons losing arguments. The big one had cauliflower ears and a neck that looked like it was late to its own appointment. The other wore a military buzz cut, but his eyes were soft, rookie tough, not born tough. I'm telling you, Nick said, the guy on Ashland, he tripped something on purpose. Like he knew we were watching. Rookie snorted. These neighborhood creeps don't know about cloud mirrors, man. They still think doorbell cams are cutting edge. They passed. I counted 4 heartbeats after their shoes stopped squeaking before I moved. At the end of the corridor, a swing door with a little round window opened onto the kitchen. Steel surfaces, heat ghosts rising from a stove, a lone dishwasher stacking plates like sins. I slipped behind a stack of linen and hugged the wall until the hallway turned into the back of the bar. Music leaked through like it was ashamed of itself. The room beyond the glass held low laughter and high lies. I didn't look. I went left, like old habit, and found what Luca promised, a library that smelled like money pretending to be wisdom. A lamp glowed under a shaded green eye. On the far wall, 10 feet long and mean about it, a painting of a horse rearing, muscles rendered like meat. The plaque said something French that meant nothing. Of course, I whispered. Of course it's a horse. I crossed the carpet slow. A camera in the corner stared into its own reflection. Vanity, not vigilance. I stood under Godhorse and studied the frame. Newer than the wood it pretended to be. I ran a fingernail along the seam. Magnet latch, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I pressed both, then lifted from the bottom like opening a stubborn jaw. The canvas swung out, revealing a steel cabinet recessed into the wall, thin as a lie. No keypad. No lock that wanted to be touched. Just a card slit and a quiet challenge. I took out the paperback jammer and set it to flirt. Nothing. This slit wasn't simple. Prox card with rolling codes. The kind of thing you'd wear on a lanyard if you had no imagination. I checked the cabinet edges and found it, a hairline hole smaller than a shirt pin. Photodiode. Laser sensor that wanted to see a specific light before it would play nice. Luca, I breathed, you cheap snake. He hadn't sent me because I was careful. He'd sent me because I was patient. From the kneeboard bag I pulled a penlight and a film strip no wider than my thumb, printed with patterns that looked like a crossword puzzle invented by a spider. I slid the strip into a slotted sleeve on the penlight and pulsed it into the hole. Nothing. Again. And again. The fourth pattern made the cabinet click once, hope clearing its throat, then the slit glowed gentle green. Inside, not stacks of cash, not a gun, not diamonds the color of dead water. A flat black ledger the size of a tablet, sealed in clear polymer with a tamper strip that screamed if you looked at it wrong. Next to it, a second thing I didn't expect, a velvet pouch heavy in my hand, the weight of regret. I cracked the pouch open with my fingernails and felt my stomach lurch. A watch. Not a knockoff. Gold that didn't brag, face scratched right across the minute hand. Exactly where an ashtray hits when someone blocks with their wrist at the last second. Luca's watch. I didn't have time to be sentimental. I slipped both into the kneeboard bag and closed the cabinet. The horse smirked. Footsteps outside the library, then the soft cough of a walkie, 2 clicks. Not a security code. More like nerves. I killed the lamp and lay my palm flat on the carpet to swallow my outline. The door breathed open an inch. A woman's shoes, not heels, flats that meant she worked here and didn't want to trip over lies. She peered in, saw nothing move, and left. The air she displaced tasted like lemon oil and caution. I eased to standing and took one last glance around. Men like this hide second alarms for fun. I listened to the walls. House was quiet. Too quiet. I stepped back into the hallway and made for the service door in a line that wasn't a line at all. 2 steps, pause, count, 2 more. At the corner by the kitchen, voices again. Different men this time. Amused, cruel. She thinks she's a journalist, one said. She's a kid with a blog. Doesn't matter what she is, the other replied. Make her sign. People stop asking questions when their rent stops getting paid. I don't know why the words punched me. Maybe it was the tempo. Maybe the word kid. Maybe the way the second voice tried to sound fatherly and failed. I kept moving. At the gate, the keypad blinked patient blue like a cop writing a ticket he doesn't enjoy. I kissed the antenna again. The bolt slid. I stepped into night that felt narrower than it had when I arrived. The burner vibrated without ringing. A text. Do not drive straight home. 10 seconds later, the phone called itself. South 2 blocks, Luca said. Then east. Park under the bridge and leave the bag. Trunk open. Walk away. That's cute, I said. You think I'm a dog doing tricks. I think you don't want to die tonight. I drove. The river greeted me with the same cold shoulder. Under the bridge, the world shrank to wet concrete and a mattress older than my adulthood. I popped the trunk, laid the kneeboard bag inside like it was a sleeping child, and stood there with my hands on the lip, smelling rust and regret. Somewhere above, a train wailed like a joke told too late. I closed the trunk halfway, then stopped. In the reflection of the taillight, a shape behind me moved wrong. Not wind. Not trash. A person, standing just outside the cone of my brake lights, a fraction to the left like we were dancing. I know you, a woman's voice said. I didn't turn yet. The air around the word no bent. It came from the chest, not the throat. A voice that had learned to be steady because the world wouldn't be. When you're ready, she said quietly, turn around slow. Hands where I can see them. I turned. She was smaller than I remembered and larger than life allowed. Dark jacket, hair pinned back like practicality was armor. No badge. No smile. But the eyes were the same. Bridge Street, 20 years old, not screaming. The bookie's kid looked at me over the lip of a phone, camera pointed like a weapon. She hit record. Say your name, she said. And then tell me why you were in their club. Her phone's red light burned hotter than any barrel. I've had shotguns pressed to my ribs, knives under my chin, even a dog once that wanted to taste my throat. None of it felt like that little blinking dot. I should have run. My body knew it, knees ready, shoulders coiled. But her eyes locked me in place. Not cop eyes, not thug eyes. Eyes that knew what they saw and weren't letting go. You don't remember me? She asked, voice steady. I remembered. God help me, I remembered. Bridge Street. The night everything turned into glass and blood. She was just a kid then, hair wild, eyes too big, hands shaking around a backpack full of college books. She'd walked in on Luca smashing skulls while I shouted to pull back. She saw me, saw the scar that would become my calling card, and she never screamed until it was over. That kind of silence sticks. "You were supposed to be in school," I said before I could stop myself. Her grip on the phone tightened. "And you were supposed to be dead." That cut deeper than any blade. She angled the phone closer, catching every detail of my face. Scar, jaw, the twitch I couldn't hide. "The cops already have your file. I've got footage of you at Ashland tonight. And now I've got you admitting you were inside their club. So here's my question, why?" I opened my mouth, then shut it. Words are weapons, and weapons backfire. If I gave her the wrong one, I'd be another headline tomorrow. "Depends," I said carefully. "You asking as a witness, or as a journalist?" Her lips curved, not a smile, something sharper. "I don't write. I stream." She lifted the phone an inch. "Thousands watching right now." I felt my stomach flip. A cop with cuffs, I could handle. A gangster with a grudge, same story. But a live audience? That's a death sentence. You can't hide once the whole world's seen your face. I glanced at the trunk. The kneeboard bag sat inside, half buried in shadow. Ledger, watch, everything. Luca's prize and my leash. If she streamed me with that in reach, I was done. "Careful," I said, raising my hands higher. "Streamers get swatted these days. One wrong word and some rookie sends a team here thinking you're hostage." "Maybe I am." Her voice didn't crack. That scared me worse than Luca. She wasn't bluffing. She wanted me pinned, exposed. She wanted blood, but not from a knife. She wanted it from the truth. The bridge above us groaned as a semi rolled over, shaking dust loose like rain. In that noise, I made a choice. I dropped my voice low, the kind of tone you use when secrets turn to weapons. "They killed your father." The phone dipped a fraction, her mask slipping just enough to show the girl from Bridge Street still lived under the armor. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I do," I said. "He wasn't just a bookie. He was their accountant. That ledger." I tapped the trunk. "It's proof. Names, numbers, payoffs. He wanted out, and they slit his throat on Bridge Street. Then they made it look like we were the monsters." Her breath hitched, just once. She fought it down, steadied herself. But I saw the tremor. She wanted answers more than she wanted me in cuffs. "And you," she whispered. "What were you doing there?" "Trying to get him out," I lied, because sometimes lies are the closest thing to mercy. Silence stretched between us. The river licked the concrete. Her phone's red light blinked steady, a metronome counting down to my ruin. Then she lowered it a little, not off, just enough that maybe her viewers were staring at shadow instead of my face. "You've got 2 minutes," she said. "Tell me everything. And if I even think you're lying," she tapped the phone, "I let them decide what happens to you." I leaned against the trunk, careful, like leaning against a coffin you weren't sure was empty. My voice dropped lower, almost a growl. "They've got judges in their pockets. Cops too. Whole damn neighborhood watches their back. That club. It's a vault for sins. Luca wants the ledger because it's the only bullet that works on them. But he doesn't want justice. He wants payback. And you." I almost laughed. "I want to breathe tomorrow without my face on a screen." Her eyes cut into me. "Then why didn't you kill me that night?" Bridge Street again. The question that had been waiting 20 years. I didn't have an answer that made me clean. I only had the truth. "Because you didn't scream." The words hung there, ugly and bare. She blinked, just once. Then her phone buzzed. A flood of notifications lit the screen, chats, comments, emojis vomiting across her live feed. Her viewers had heard it all. Headlights swung under the bridge, flooding us both in white. Not cops. Not yet. A black SUV with tinted glass rolled to a stop, engine humming like a predator's purr. Her phone tilted up, catching it in the frame. "Who are they?" she asked. My throat went dry. The SUV doors opened, and men stepped out in suits too sharp for midnight. Not Luca's people. Not cops either. Worse. "They," I said, every syllable heavy, "are the ones who paid for your father's funeral." And just like that, the air turned to glass again, ready to shatter. The SUV idled like a beast that hadn't decided if it was hungry. Doors opened in rhythm, front first, then back, 1, 2, 3, like soldiers trained to breathe as one. 3 men in suits stepped out, not cheap mall cop fabric, but tailored black that carried the weight of power. No ties. No badges. Just clean jaws and colder eyes. The girl, no, not a girl anymore, a woman with steel in her bones, kept her phone steady. Her live stream captured them, headlights washing her face pale. She didn't flinch. Me? My palms sweated inside gloves that had seen worse nights. The tallest of the suits spoke first. His voice wasn't loud. Didn't need to be. "Close the trunk." I didn't move. The woman glanced at me, then back to them, her phone tilted just enough to keep all of us in frame. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice clear, carrying. The second suit, stockier, smirked. "Fans don't ask names. They cheer." Her jaw set. "My viewers aren't cheering." That got a laugh, short and humorless. The tall one nodded at the trunk again. "Bag. Hand it over." Every instinct screamed don't. That ledger in the kneeboard bag was more than ink and paper. It was leverage, survival. But I was boxed in, suits ahead, her phone at my side, the river whispering escape that wasn't real. So I stalled. "You paid for the house on Ashland?" That made them pause. The smirk dropped. "Yeah, I'd hit a nerve." "You should have stayed inside," the tall one said. "And missed the show." I tried to grin. My teeth felt brittle. "What's the plan? Drag me in, stage another suicide? Or do I disappear between here and the morgue?" No laugh this time. Just silence, heavy, deliberate. The woman cut through it. "My father's ledger," she said, voice sharp. "You killed him for it." The suits didn't blink. That's the thing about trained liars. They let silence do the talking. Her hand trembled just once, then steadied. She tilted the phone higher, red light catching all their faces. "Say it. Say his name. Say you did it." The stocky one stepped forward, hands loose like he'd done this dance 1,000 times. "Turn that off." She didn't. In that instant, I saw it. Her bravery was fire, but fire burns quick if you don't guard it. And me? I wasn't built to guard anyone. I was built to survive. I closed the trunk softly, fingers brushing the cold metal, and whispered, "Luca, you better be watching." Because if this was his game, his setup, his theater, I needed him to pull the curtain now. The tall suit snapped his fingers. The SUV's rear door opened again, slower this time. Another man stepped out. Different vibe, older, smoother, suit gray instead of black. His hair slicked back like oil, smile carved sharp. And then I saw it. The badge. Not flashing, not raised, just slipped from his inner pocket, flashed quick enough for me to know, too quick for the live stream to catch. The cop with cuffs. The one Luca warned about. "Evening," he said like we were meeting at a barbecue. "Quite the reunion." The woman's phone trembled, then steadied again. "Badge number," she demanded. He chuckled. "Numbers are for rookies. Faces are for history. And history's being written right now, isn't it?" He gestured at her phone. She didn't lower it. God, she was brave. Stupid, but brave. He turned his eyes on me. "And you? Still limping through shadows, huh? Still thinking you can outsmart the system you built your little career robbing?" My chest tightened. He knew me. Not just the scar, not just my record, he knew. "What do you want?" I asked. He spread his arms like a preacher. "Same thing we've always wanted. Order. Quiet. People forgetting names they were never supposed to know." His smile widened. "But you bring noise." The woman snapped, "You killed my father." That wiped the smile. Just for a second, but I saw it, the crack. His jaw clenched, nostrils flared. Then he smoothed it over. "Your father chose bad friends. Bad debts. We only cleaned the mess." Her voice shook, but she forced the words out. "I'm streaming all of this." He nodded, calm. "Good. Then let them see how stories end. He raised a hand. The suits moved. Everything slowed. Headlights glared, river roared, my pulse became a drum. I had seconds, maybe less. I shoved the trunk closed with a slam, spun, and grabbed her wrist, not to hurt, but to move. Run! Her phone nearly slipped, but she kept it pointed even as we bolted for the shadows under the bridge. The suits shouted. Footsteps thundered. The SUV's engine roared to life. We ran crooked, not straight. Crooked confuses shooters. Gravel sprayed under our boots. I yanked her behind a pillar just as a gunshot cracked, concrete spitting dust inches from her head. She gasped, clutching her phone, still streaming, still live. Turn it off. I hissed. No, she panted. The world has to see. I wanted to curse. Instead, I peeked around the pillar. The suits were fanning, methodical. Not street thugs, trained. And the cop. He hung back, calm, like he knew the end was already his. But he didn't know Luca. Because just then, the SUV's headlights exploded, glass and sparks. A second later, smoke billowed from under its hood. The suits froze, surprised. And from the darkness across the river, a laugh echoed, low and sharp. Curtains up, Luca's voice called. The woman's eyes widened. Who? I grabbed her shoulder. Not who. What comes next? And as the suits scrambled, I realized something cold and clear. Luca hadn't come to save us. He'd come to burn every piece on the board. Smoke rolled across the underpass, thick and bitter, swallowing the suits in gray. Headlights gone, SUV wheezing like a dying bull. The woman clutched her phone to her chest, live feed still on, red dot blinking like a curse. Stay low, I hissed, dragging her deeper into the dark. She fought me, eyes wide, voice raw. Who the hell is that? You'll wish you didn't know. Luca's laugh echoed again, closer this time, bouncing off the concrete like ghosts arguing. Then the flash came, white, sharp, deliberate. Not a gunshot. A flashbang. The suits reeled, hands to their ears, cursing. One stumbled against the SUV, another went down on a knee. Even the cop with the slicked-back hair staggered, his composure cracked for the first time. Move! I barked, pulling her behind another pillar. She coughed through the smoke, phone trembling in her grip. This is insane. No, I said, peeking out at the chaos. This is Luca. And then he stepped into the glow of a burning headlight. Same tattoos, same grin that never reached his eyes. He held nothing but a crowbar, swinging it lazy like a metronome. Evening, gentlemen, he called, voice carrying calm as a sermon. Long time no blood. The cop straightened, rubbing his temple. Luca. Detective, Luca said with a little bow. Still moonlighting for the suits? Or is that the day job now? The detective's smile came back, sharp and false. You're late. I like an audience, Luca said, eyes flicking to the phone still glowing in the woman's hand. His grin widened. Perfect. She gasped. He sees me. Of course he does, I muttered. One of the suits raised his pistol, quick, professional. Luca didn't flinch. He just whistled. From the shadows above, something dropped, a brick, wrapped in duct tape and nails. It slammed into the hood of the SUV, clattering, sparking. Not a bomb. A distraction. The suits spun instinctively, looking up. By the time they turned back, Luca was gone. The detective swore under his breath, signaling the suits with two sharp hand waves. They split, one left, one right, sweeping the underpass. Calm, methodical, trained. I tugged the woman closer. We need to go. Her breath hitched, but she shook her head. Not without the truth. He said my dad's name. He knows something. Your dad's truth will bury you. Maybe, she shot back, eyes burning, but silence already buried him. She was stubborn, reckless. And worse, she was right. Footsteps pounded closer. I pushed her against the concrete, one hand clamped over hers to steady the phone. My face filled her live stream again, scar and all. Listen to me. If you want to stay alive, you keep running that feed. No cuts, no edits. The second you shut it down, they'll kill you. Understand? Her throat worked, but she nodded. "Good," I said. "Now follow me." We bolted into the smoke, zigzagging across gravel. Gunfire cracked behind us, wild and panicked this time. Bullets sparked off concrete, chewed into steel beams. The woman ducked low, teeth clenched, but her phone never wavered. God help me, she was broadcasting our death in high definition. At the far end of the underpass, a chain-link gate leaned half-rusted, padlock dangling. I rammed my shoulder into it. The lock snapped, metal shrieking. We spilled out into the open night, the city's neon bleeding across the river like bruises. I shoved her ahead. "Keep going." She stumbled, then caught herself, boots slapping asphalt. Behind us, voices shouted, orders barked. They were regrouping. And then Luca's voice came again, not laughter this time, but command. "Car. Now." A sedan screeched around the corner, tires screaming against the pavement. Driver masked, windows tinted. Luca hung half out the passenger side, crowbar gone, pistol in hand. "Get in," he barked. The woman froze, staring. "No, he's a killer." "So are they," I snapped, shoving her toward the car. Bullets spat from the underpass, whistling past our ears. The masked driver flung the rear door open. I all but threw her inside, then dove after her. Luca slammed the door, 2 shots cracking from his pistol before he ducked back in. The car fishtailed, then roared into the night. Inside, it smelled of sweat and oil. The woman pressed herself against the far door, clutching her phone like a crucifix. Her camera was still rolling, capturing Luca's grin across the back seat. "Long time, partner," he said to me, eyes glinting. I didn't answer. Couldn't. My pulse was a hammer. The woman turned the phone on him, voice trembling. You set this up. The house, the cameras, the ledger. Why?" Luca leaned closer, filling her frame. "Because stories need villains. And heroes. And I'm tired of playing one without the other." "What the hell does that mean?" I growled. He chuckled. "It means the ledger's more than numbers. It's theater. Evidence that burns the suits, ruins the cop, rewrites the game. But evidence doesn't matter unless someone shows it. Someone loud. Someone viral." He tapped her phone. "Congratulations, darling. You just became the news." Her face went pale. "You used me." "No," Luca said softly, almost tender. "I gave you what you wanted. The truth. And him," he jabbed a finger at me, "he'll keep you alive long enough to tell it." The driver gunned the engine, city lights blurring past. Behind us, sirens wailed, growing closer. Police. Real ones this time, or maybe not. I stared at Luca, fury boiling under my ribs. "You're insane." "Maybe," he said with a shrug. "But insane gets headlines. And headlines kill kings." The woman finally dropped her phone into her lap, the red dot still glowing. She whispered, almost to herself, "They're watching. All of them." Luca smiled, wide and sharp. "Good. Let them." Curtains only just rising. The sirens screamed louder, closing in. The driver swerved hard, tires biting asphalt, and I knew part 2 of this nightmare was coming fast. Cops, suits, Luca, and a live audience waiting to see who bled first. Sirens braided with the engine's howl, a sound like judgment in the rear view. The driver cut across 2 lanes, dove under a blinking yellow, and ripped us into an alley where dumpsters leaned like drunks. The woman's phone sat in her lap, lens up, red dot still burning. Luca watched it like a cat watches a laser. "Lose the stream," I said. "Just for 30 seconds. She shook her head, jaw tight. "It's the only thing keeping us alive." "She's right," Luca said, amused. "Cameras are better than Kevlar." The driver popped the headlights off and on, a code I didn't recognize. 2 quick, 1 long. Somewhere up ahead, a garage door rolled open like a mouth that had been waiting to be fed. We slid inside. The door rattled back down, cutting the sirens to a muffled memory. The garage smelled like tires and old war metal. Neon buzzed overhead. Grease pencil numbers ghosted the cinderblock wall. An office door at the far end had a shade tilted just enough to show a sliver of light. I didn't like it. Out, the driver said. His voice was gravel and cigarettes. We piled out. Luca scooped the kneeboard bag from the trunk. Of course he'd taken it back at the bridge between the smoke and the Sprint. He cradled it like a newborn. The woman kept her phone up, hand shaking but steady in the way that matters. Comments flashed across the glass like moths. I caught a few. Is this real? Cops are dirty, run. None of them helped. You said you wanted truth, Luca told her, strolling toward the office. This is where truth gets shaved and dressed. I put a hand on his arm. Slow down. He looked at my fingers, then at my face. Let go. Tell me who's in there first. The man who smiles before he lies, Luca said lightly. And the man who pays him to. The detective. And one of the suit's owners. My mouth went dry. You brought us to them? I invited them, Luca corrected. You crash a castle by walking through the front gate. But you only get one shot before the drawbridge closes for a generation. So we let the world in first. He tapped the phone with a knuckle. Insurance. My gut crawled. There's a line between daring and suicide, and Luca had spray-painted it black. I stepped between him and the office door. If you hand that ledger over, we're dead before the live stream catches up. He considered, eyes glittering. Then he smiled that thin, storybook smile. Who said I'm handing anything over? The office door clicked. The detective stepped out, tie loosened now, hair perfect even under garage light. Behind him, a heavier shadow shifted, the sort you only get from money sitting in a chair. Neighbors, the detective said, like we were borrowing a cup of sugar. His eyes dropped to the woman's phone and didn't linger. Trained. Glad you could join us. The woman raised the phone, angling to catch all four of us. Say my father's name, she said, voice low. Say what you did. The detective tilted his head, pleasant as a postcard. Ma'am, you're in danger. I'm here to get you out. By shooting at me, she snapped. Bullets came from their side, he said, eyes flicking past her to me. Ask him. I didn't rise to it. He wanted my temper. I gave him silence. Luca actually yawned. A figure moved behind the detective. The owner stepped into view, mid-50s, tan like gilt, suit that cost more than any car I'd ever owned. His smile was modest, the way hurricanes pretend to be breezes. Everyone's filming these days, he said mildly. Makes conversation so inefficient. Then confess quick, the woman said. Confession is for priests, he said. Deals are for men. Luca clapped softly. Music to my ears. I felt the tilt before I saw it. The driver had circled behind us, hand near his waistband, not quite on a gun, not quite away from it. His eyes weren't on the suits. They were on me. Luca, I murmured. Your man's not your man. Relax, Luca said, not looking. He's everybody's man. That's the point. The detective's gaze flitted to the kneeboard bag. If that's what I think it is, you're done, Luca. Not just them. You. Luca grinned. Then you'd better smile while you lie. The woman edged closer to me, whisper sharp. What's happening? Negotiation, I said. With knives. The owner held up a palm, all magnanimous. We seem to have an impasse. You have something that belongs to us. We have institutions that can make you ghosts. But the world is watching, yes? So let's give it a show they can sleep through. Say the number, Luca said. What number? The woman asked. The owner kept his eyes on Luca. 2. Luca's grin didn't move. 5. The owner's smile cooled. 3. 7, Luca said. The detective's jaw tightened. The driver exhaled like a man who'd been holding his breath since sunrise. Codes on top of codes. Prices. Bodies. Years. I didn't know the language, but I understood the grammar. We're inside a deal that was written long before any of us got here. Gentlemen, the detective said, suddenly impatient. The feed. Ah. The owner turned to the woman. Give me the phone. She laughed once, ugly and fearless. Come and take it. The detective stepped forward, palms open. Ma'am. I moved between them. No. He stopped, eyes on mine. Whatever he saw there, he respected it just enough to shift tactics. "You think he's saving you?" he asked, chin tipping at Luca. "He's staging you. He needs your face for the story where he's the hero." "Heroes don't wear your badge," she shot back. He actually smiled at that. "No," he said quietly. "They don't." Something in his tone made my skin cold. He believed it. In his head, he was the medic on a battlefield made of neighborhoods. That kind of conviction gets more people killed than malice ever could. Luca broke the moment with a clap. "Time's up. Choose a channel." Then he did a thing that made me want to kill him. He reached into the bag, took out the velvet pouch, and tossed it to the detective. The detective caught it by instinct. He opened it, saw the watch, and something old and human flickered over his face. "Not greed. Memory. You kept this," he said. "Some debts are sentimental," Luca said lightly. "Now do the trick." The detective looked at the owner, then at the phone, then back to the pouch. He closed his hand around the watch like closing a wound. And he turned to the camera. "Her father was killed," he said, voice flat as a report, "by men who will never be arrested unless certain documents are released. Those documents have just been placed into secure custody." He looked at me, then at Luca. "If any of us die tonight, or if she vanishes, the documents go wide. To IA, to 3 desks I hate, to the morning shows. Including names you've never heard because you weren't supposed to." The owner didn't move. He couldn't, not with 10,000 eyes guessing which twitch meant guilt. The driver's hand slid away from his waistband, disappointed. Luca exhaled like a man tasting dessert. "See? Everyone's an actor when the light's red." The woman didn't lower the phone. "Say his name." The detective stared into the lens. A muscle jumped in his cheek. "Miguel Rivas," he said. "He was your father. He was an accountant for bad men. He tried to leave. They didn't let him." Her breath hitched, tiny and sharp. She swallowed it whole, but the mic on her phone caught it anyway. It went out into the stream, a sound like a thread breaking, and for a second the garage was just 4 walls around a grief that had waited years to be spoken. The owner's voice came back cool and easy. "Enough pageantry. The ledger." Luca shook his head. "Not tonight." "You don't understand," the owner murmured, stepping closer. "You're not in control." "Neither are you," Luca said. He jerked his chin at the phone. "They are." The sirens returned, closer now, stacking into a choir. Somebody had decided to send a lot of cars to a quiet part of town. Real ones, crooked ones, didn't matter. A tide was coming and we were standing on chalk. I leaned to the woman. "We're leaving." "Where?" she whispered. "Anywhere that isn't a shooting gallery." We backed toward the sedan. The detective didn't stop us. The owner's eyes sharpened, but he stayed still. Too many witnesses. Too few seconds to shape them. "Last offer," the owner said. "Return what you stole and walk away." "You first," Luca said, already sliding into the back seat. "Return the years." I opened the rear door for her. She climbed in, phone up, tears drying to salt on her cheeks. I followed, and the driver took the wheel again like he was born there. The garage door rattled up. Night waited, full of blue lights. As we rolled out, the detective stepped into the wash of neon and put a hand to his ear. Not an earpiece. A gesture. His other hand fanned twice low, left, right. He was either clearing us or telling wolves where to meet us. I couldn't tell which until we were on the street and the first patrol car slid past without a glance. "He bought us 90 seconds, I said. 80, the driver corrected. The woman finally spoke, voice raw. "He said my father's name." "Yeah," I said softly. "He did." She stared at Luca. "You still haven't said why you need me." Luca looked out the window, the city painting itself across his tattoos. "Because truth without witnesses is just a diary," he said. "And diaries don't topple princes." "Stop with the poetry," I snarled. "What's the real play?" He turned back, grin gone now, eyes hard. "The ledger's incomplete. Rivas kept backups. Not paper. People. Deposits hidden in stories. You want the whole book? We need her to open doors he shut. Her fingers tightened around the phone. You think my father hid, what, passwords? Keys? In me. In what you remember, Luca said. Birthdays recited, errands he ran, songs he hummed when he lied. He built a map in your life and never told you. I need that map. We all do, if we want to live past sunrise. The city opened ahead like a set before the scene. Behind us, the blue glow multiplied. In front, a tunnel mouth yawned, black and humming. Into the tunnel? The driver asked. Into the dark, Luca said. I checked the mirror. Somewhere back there, the detective decided whether he was savior or executioner tonight. Somewhere in front, the owner adjusted a tie and dialed a number that moved money faster than bullets. Beside me, a woman held a world in her palm and refused to look away. We plunged into the tunnel. The live stream's red dot reflected in the glass, a tiny, steady heart that belonged to none of us and to everyone watching. Say it, she whispered, not to me, not to Luca, but to the glow. Say what comes next. But the tunnel swallowed our words, and the answer came from the dark itself, a second set of headlights waiting where no headlights should be. The tunnel swallowed us whole, concrete ribs echoing the roar of tires. Our headlights caught nothing but gray, until two beams flared ahead, white, cold, deliberate. A car idled sideways across both lanes, blocking the way out. Not cops. Too quiet. Too patient. The driver cursed low. They're waiting. Luca leaned forward, smile curling again like smoke. Of course they are. That's how you know they're scared. The woman raised her phone, catching the scene, the red dot pulsing, thousands of strangers watching us barrel toward fate. Her breath came fast, sharp. What do we do? Not crash, I said. The driver's hands flexed on the wheel. He didn't slow. I scanned the tunnel. No alcoves. No emergency doors. Just walls and echoes. A trap built with tax dollars. As we closed in, the blocking car's doors opened. Figures stepped out, silhouettes sharp in the beams. Long coats, steady stances. Suits again. At least 4. Maybe more. Luca chuckled, low and dark. Look at them. Afraid of a ledger, afraid of a girl with a phone. He slapped the seat. That's power. Shut up, I hissed. We need options. The woman's eyes darted between me and the road. They'll kill us, won't they? Not live, I said. Not while you're streaming. She gripped her phone tighter. Then I'll never stop. The driver's foot hovered over the brake. Call it. I made a choice. Hit them. He grinned, teeth yellow in the dashlight. Best words I've heard all night. The engine screamed. The sedan lunged forward, rattling my bones. The suits raised their guns. Muzzle flashes bloomed like lightning. Glass shattered. Bullets punched holes in the hood, the doors. One tore the side mirror clean off. The woman screamed but didn't drop her phone. God help her, she was still filming. The driver swerved last second, clipping the blocking car's rear bumper. Metal shrieked. Our sedan fishtailed, scraping sparks from the wall. I grabbed the woman, pulled her down as another bullet carved air where her head had been. We spun out, slammed sideways, came to rest against the tunnel wall. Steam hissed from the hood. My ears rang with the silence that follows gunfire. The suits regrouped, boots slapping asphalt. Closing in. Luca laughed like a lunatic, blood running from a cut on his forehead. Perfect, he muttered. Curtain call. I shoved the door open, dragging the woman out. She stumbled, but she kept the phone up, lens aimed square at the suits. One raised his weapon. I spread my arms, stepped in front of her. Go ahead, I shouted, my voice ricocheting down the tunnel. Pull the trigger on live stream. Let the world see who pays your rent. He hesitated. A second too long. The woman's voice cut like a blade. Say my father's name. Say who gave the order. The suits froze. Just for a heartbeat. Enough for me to see the crack in their armor. And then another set of headlights flared behind us, our rear exit. Sirens, real this time, filling the tunnel with blue strobe. The detective's voice bellowed through a loudspeaker, "Drop your weapons!" The suits glanced, calculating. If they shot, it was murder on camera. If they ran, it was guilt in retreat. Slowly, one by one, they lowered their guns. The detective stepped into the light, badge held high, face tight with something between fury and salvation. He looked at me, then at her. "Keep that phone steady," he ordered. "Don't you dare stop streaming." For the first time all night, Luca went silent. The owner wasn't here. Not yet. But his soldiers were disarmed, his detective was playing savior, and his sins were bleeding into the internet one shaky frame at a time. The woman's eyes filled but didn't spill. Her voice shook, but she forced it steady. "Say it," she whispered to the suits, to the detective, to the tunnel itself. "Say who killed Miguel Rivas." The detective met her gaze. His lips pressed thin. Then, for the world to hear, he said, "They did. Ordered from the top. And now the top burns." Gasps and comments exploded across her phone, the feed alive with fire. I stood there, blood in my mouth, lungs on fire, scar burning under the lights, and realized the truth. We weren't thieves anymore. We weren't prey or predators. We were witnesses. And the story had finally turned against them.